Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. What's going on today? Get inside and cool off and enjoy a little bit of Hockey Sense brought to you by First Community. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out. It's our Friday tradition. Maddox Dagenais is going to join us, 16th overall pick from the 2026 draft of the Blues. Plays in the Quebec League. And, we'll talk with him and maybe introduce him to the fans a little bit here in St. Louis. Looking forward to seeing him skate in training camp and watching him develop in the Quebec League once again this season. Although he says during the interview, hey, he wants to come here and hopefully make the team. You just never know. I never, ever rule it out. You talk about first round picks. Listen, the odds are stacked against you, but if you show you belong, then they'll keep you. It's not always easy, but it's nothing crazy either. I'm not saying I expect it, not trying to put any pressure like that on Dagenais, but really looking forward to seeing him skate. He's got a interesting skill set, man. You look at the size, you look at his scoring ability. He can score off the rush. He can score from outside with his shooting ability. He can be a net front guy. He's crafty around the net. He's physical. He's big. I didn't ask him. There's one question I would have liked to ask him. I just kind of forgot, Some people like him more on the wing. Some people like him in the middle. So I'll be interested to see how the Blues use him as we get into training camp. I don't know if we'll see him get a game or not. It's going to be hard to get a game for a lot of these prospects with the shortened preseason schedule in comparison to what we've seen in recent years. It may be difficult for these guys to find themselves in a game, but who knows, man? We'll see how that goes. That's why every practice is going to matter. All these guys who are coming to NHL camp, man, these practices, you almost have to treat them like they're a game. I think how you perform in practice and your work rate and your execution, your focus, that's how you get the attention, I think, of management and obviously the coaching staff. And you just hope that you can use the practices to get you a game, if not a couple. But again, easier said than done. So Maddox Dagenais, I think, is coming in around September 10th, September 11th, in that range. And you'll see him on the ice, and I would imagine he'll be playing in the rookie tournament coming up in Chicago. That's where the Blues are going to be this year. The Blues, Minnesota, Chicago, they've been rotating. They had it here a couple of years ago. I think it's back in St. Louis next summer. Anyway, really looking forward to seeing Dagenais skate, just like a number of other prospects as well. But anyway, anytime you get to see first-round picks for the first time, it's always exciting for the fans. First Community brings us Hockey Sense. Sign your son or daughter up for the Little Blues program. Do that today, ages 4 through 9. If you've never had any organized ice hockey experience, this is the best program for you to introduce your son or daughter to the game of ice hockey. Comes with all the equipment. That's one thing that I can't stress that enough. You get all your equipment, head to toe, helmets, skates, everything. So sign your son or daughter up. You can always do a couple of sessions. That's what I did with my son. We did more than one session. So again, they're young. That's fun. It's a great opportunity for them just to kind of enjoy being out on the ice, feel the wind against their face, hear the sounds of being on the ice, have some good coaching. And, it's great for the families too. Plus, give them a chance to see if they really like it before you decide if you want to invest thousands and thousands of dollars into the game of hockey, which is so expensive, by the way. They all are. All sports are expensive. And I don't like to pick on hockey when it comes to how expensive hockey is, because they're all expensive. My daughter plays soccer. She's leaving town today. They leave town like the next 3 weekends. It's August. 3 weekends in a row, they're out of town. So, and then they go to a bunch of different places, all these different national events. It's nothing is cheap. I hear about it from parents of volleyball players, parents of another daughter of mine plays tennis. Nothing's cheap. Soccer, hockey, softball, baseball, you're constantly traveling. You're always on the move, man. The days of just playing a home schedule, they don't exist anymore. But it's a great experience and something that the kids will cherish for a lifetime, really, all the relationships and whatnot. So, I love it. We're out of town a lot for hockey and for soccer, but we wouldn't have it any other way. So Hockey Sense brings you Our first community brings you hockey sense each and every week here on live from Half Coast Studios. Aiden's in the house today. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Don't download that app today. They've got so many deals on that app, they call them steals. Take advantage of all the deals that they have. Best selection of beer, wine, and booze. They've got that incredible walk-in beer cooler. When it's 100 degrees, where else would you rather be than the walk-in beer cooler? Don't sleep on the party supplies if you're having back-to-school parties or any other barbecues late in the summer, pool parties. They got everything you need. And, just around the corner, it's going to be September. People will be having fall parties. And then before you know it, Halloween's going to be here, which is just crazy. Enough with the Halloween decorations. I'm seeing people, and they have Halloween decorations that they're starting to put up. And you go to the stores, you see all the Halloween decorations. It's too early for that. But Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. Find a location near you. If you make your order from the app, guess what? It's free delivery. They'll deliver to your house. You can also do curbside pickup. They've got drive-thrus in some locations, so you can do your shopping there and never even get out of the car. It's so convenient. With Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone, something special in your life. The best selection of engagement rings anywhere in St. Louis is Lordo's Diamonds. LordosDiamonds.com, right there in the heart of Ladue. Right next to Truffles. Stop in. Great men's jewelry, too. Great selection of watches and chains and whatnot. 314-432-8008. If you walk in with a $100,000 budget, guess what? You're going to get treated exactly the same as somebody who walks in with a $100 budget. It's just the reality of the situation when you have people like Mike and Jimmy Lordo at the helm. That's how you get treated at Lordo's Diamonds. LordosDiamonds.com. Check out the website. Again, 314-432-8008. Right there in Clayton Road. They've been around for 70 years. In the heart of Ladue, Lordo's Diamonds. LordosDiamonds.com. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. You talk about that free estimate. Get that free estimate today. And see what you maybe need. Gutters, soffit, fascia, all that type of stuff. But a new roof. If your roof gets to like 10 years old, some of these insurance companies, they won't pay for a new roof. You never know. I think that's a policy for some of these insurance companies. So if your roof is approaching 10 years of age, get that free estimate and get that new roof while the insurance company is still going to pay for it. Hail damage, storm damage. Chances are you've had some if you're listening to this show. Had a lot of rain, a lot of storms this summer. Call David Novak. He'll talk pucks with you too. He loves hockey. 314-920-5713. Call David Novak. Get in touch with David Novak today. And STL Lawn Care, St. Louis Lawn Care, they've been cutting my grass, do an unbelievable job, but it's not just the grass cutting. It's the aeration they can do, the overseeding, the snow removal, the leaf removal. stlouislawncare.com. Check that out. They do incredible work. My yard looks like Fenway Park, man. Or Petco Park in San Diego. Isn't that what I normally say? Petco Park in San Diego. That's how nice it looks. stlouislawncare.com. So we appreciate their support that we're getting. Still some good players out there. Just reading a text message right now. What is this? Oh, still some good players out there that are available. Vladimir Tarasenko hasn't signed. David Perron hasn't signed. These guys will. Somebody will be looking for a veteran guy. I hope somebody gives both these guys an opportunity, and I would imagine that they will. I would say more so probably in the case of Tarasenko. I think you have to come to the realization of what your market value is. I know it's going up like crazy, and when you have players making over $18 million, it's bringing the salaries up, but not for some of those guys. I think David Perron would be realistic. David Perron's going to look for the best fit for he and his family. I would imagine he wants another chance to win, another crack at winning a Stanley Cup. I used to say I would have loved David Perron to finish his career here in St. Louis, but I'd love to see this guy go to a competitive team. He's been in Detroit, he's been in Ottawa, and these teams really haven't been in position to really compete or challenge for a Stanley Cup. So, I would love for one of these guys to be able to do so. Specifically David. I mean, Tarasenko's won a couple of Stanley Cups. He won in Florida after he left St. Louis, and actually had a pretty good year last year in Minnesota. Did he get to 20 goals last year, Tarasenko? He may have gotten to 20. I'm just curious. David had some personal situations going on. He had to leave for a little bit and had some injuries, but I would sign David Perron in a heartbeat. Yeah, Vladimir Tarasenko, 23 goals last season. No wonder he's looking for some cash, probably. He's not going to sign for $2.5 million or $3 million, man. This guy's going to want to get paid. Always wants to get paid. But look at all the teams that Tarasenko's been on. It's crazy. Spent so many games in St. Louis. He's at 906 right now. He wants to get to 1,000 games, and hopefully he can do that. He's going to have to play more than one more year to get to 1,000 and obviously stay healthy. 1,000 games, man, it means so much. I was looking at it the other day. Dean McCam and Cam Jansen and I were talking about Dean McCam and away from the podcast. And I really liked Dean back in the day when he played here in St. Louis. One of the nicest people I've ever met, man. He was just so friendly and so nice. We really got to know each other really well in that first and only year that he played. I'll never forget that he scored a goal on his own net on a delayed penalty. Just tried to make a pass back to up top to the point. It went past the defenseman and all the way down into the empty net. But he just a religious guy, very nice guy. And I was looking at his numbers the other day, and he retired with 996 career games. I mean, you're that close to 1,000. You got to find a way to come back and get to 1,000. I think that 1,000 games played number. I'm curious where you put that, but it's a great number. 500 goals is a huge number. 600 goals is even a bigger number. But you get to 1,000 games, man. There's something to be said for that if you can get to 1,000. Big weekend here in St. Louis with the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm looking forward to hosting and emceeing that event once again. We've got some great people going in. A couple notable names, including Pat Maroon, the hometown hero, who's going to go in, and deservedly so. 3-time Stanley Cup winner, and obviously had a great run here in St. Louis, playing for a number of different organizations, including the St. Louis AAA Blues and the St. Louis Bandits, and being coached by, Jeff Brown for a number of years, and people know about that history those two have with one another. So it should be a great ceremony once again. Always looking forward to this, man. It's so much fun. We're going to have a big crowd out there. Donnie Lux is going in, who is a minority owner with the Blues. Helped solidify that deal along with Chairman Tom Stillman. Always been passionate about hockey here in St. Louis. His kids played. Donnie's been a guy that you see play pickup hockey around the rinks. He grew up playing as well. He's invested in junior hockey. This guy has really been passionate and supports a lot of hockey here in St. Louis. So very well deserved for him to get in. Mike Zook is going in. He had a great career too. And you talk about a guy who's coached all over and he's been around, still a prominent member of the St. Louis Blues alumni. You see him at all the alumni skates. He's done a lot of business. He's coached. His son played. Always been a big fan of Zuki, man. So big shout out to him and on all the guys who are going in this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, I know a lot of people are asking me about Alexander Nikishin, defenseman from Carolina, and this is taking a little bit of time, and I think the reasoning is because of Carolina. I think Carolina is just making sure that they're going to get what they want. I think he's going to be moved. St. Louis is 100% in the mix, though, according to my sources. I wasn't sure. There was a lot of noise about it. It just took me a little while to really do some due diligence and dig into it a little bit, but I wanted to know. But it sounds like they are. I think Carolina's accepted a few offers, and I believe St. Louis is probably one of those. But then it comes down to getting a contract done with the player. And so I think that's what's going on and what's holding this thing up. I think the compensation, Carolina has found a team or two that they're willing to trade him to, but that team's going to want to get an extension with Nikishin, who's going to want to get paid. I mean, he's got that reputation a little bit. I don't mean it in a bad way, but I think it took some time for him to come over to Carolina. I thought that relationship maybe got off to a little bit of a rocky start to begin with in terms of his relationship with the Hurricanes. So I'm not really overly surprised that he'd be moving on from the Hurricanes as quickly as he is. Um, but then again, you see it. What is he? 24? Yeah, he's 24 years old. He'll be 25 in October. So you see that, and for me in the past, it's always like, oh, well, what's the warning signs here, man? When you see a young, talented player like that moving on from an organization that invested in him. And listen, when you talk about compensation, he was a third round pick, but sometimes you can't always look at that in terms of where he was drafted for some of these Russian players. But you look at his performance in terms of what he's done since he's gotten to the National Hockey League, because he came over at 22, and he's had some. I guess he came over last year. Last year was his first and only full season in the NHL. The year before, he came over and played 4 games in the playoffs. Last year, he played 17, I think, of the 19 games that Carolina played in the Stanley Cup playoffs, had an assist, but he had 11 goals, something like that, in the regular season. So I do like the player. He can help a number of teams, and wherever he goes, he's going to help them. But again, if you're wondering why this hasn't gotten done and why this is still out there, I think it comes down to negotiating a contract and satisfying his needs from a salary standpoint in terms of what he wants. So he's going to be kidding. I'll be really interested when it's all said and done, whether he comes to St. Louis or somewhere else, what he ultimately signs for. Somebody's going to sign him. He's going to get paid too because of what he's looking for. Carolina's not paying him. I think that's the one team we know that will not be paying him is the Carolina Hurricanes. But somebody's going to. He'll help a team out, man. He's a good player. Has some good size. Is 6'3", 220. Left shot. I do like the Blues defense, man. That's one of the areas where I'm just really interested to see how that's going to play out in training camp. You got 8 guys essentially competing for 6 spots, and I'm putting Jurasek in that category. I just felt like early in the summer, all along, that he was just a given. He was a guaranteed to make the roster. I don't think it's a guarantee now. I'd love to see him though here in St. Louis, but you've got Tyler Tucker, who brings an element. But with the addition of Brandon Carlo, man, it is a crowded room there with Blues defensemen. If you have Mayu and Broberg as your top pair, Lindstein is a guy who, he finished so strong last season. You assume that he can do that again. I would imagine they have him penciled in right now to play with Colton Parayko. And then you've got Fowler. And you've got Carlo. I was talking to a former teammate of Brandon Carlo's. They were raving about him. They're like, don't just look at what you saw from his time in Toronto. Like, this guy, he's got a great stick. He can disrupt things in the neutral zone. You see how many passes that he's able to deflect and plays that he's able to intercept just with his reach and his long stick that he has in the neutral zone. He's good from that standpoint. Now, listen, there may be, come times where I think maybe you get a little frustrated, may fumble or bobble a puck at the blue line, maybe turn a puck over at the offensive blue line. But that's not what you're bringing him here for. It's all about his ability to defend. He's got some length to him. He can kill penalties. He's not going to wow you with his skill. He's not an above average defenseman. With the puck on his stick, he's not going to make plays, but he can kill plays, which is a great quality to have as a defenseman. He can certainly kill penalties too. But I feel like Brandon Carlo is here to really give the Blues some insurance in case Jurasek isn't ready. If they have to send him down to go play for Steve Ott and spend some time in the minors. But I just don't, the Blues aren't going to keep 8 defensemen coming out of training camp. That's not going to happen. So somebody's going to have to go down if I include him in there. And I like Tyler Tucker too. Like, I wouldn't imagine you'd be able to sneak him through waivers, although you never know. Especially that time of year coming out of training camp. They always say it's the best time to send somebody or try to sneak somebody through. because teams are relatively healthy and have their rosters set. But you'd hate to lose a guy like Tyler Tucker just because he does bring an element. Be nice to have a guy like him in the lineup with Ross Johnston and, really has some significant presence that I don't think the Blues have had in a while when it comes to that style of hockey, that level of heaviness. It's funny because Johnston and Tyler Tucker, they fought last year in Anaheim. I think it was in Anaheim. So Johnston's tough though, man. I was texting with him the other day. Looking forward to him getting here to St. Louis, and I know he's excited about being here too. So should be fun, but that's what it looks like from a defensive standpoint. And then offensively, you're going to have some competition, but more so, I think, and we probably have talked about this before, I think more so at the bottom end of your roster offensively. Just in terms of how that's going to sort itself out, who's going to be on the fourth line, who's making the team, is Oscar Sundqvist making the team, where's Nathan Walker fit in all of this? Just some things that you hope there's enough time in training camp for some of this to sort itself out, because there are a lot of bodies, with the addition of, they bring Finley on board. You got Ross Johnston. You just have some new faces. Finley obviously was here for the second half of last year, but looking forward to it, man. Hockey couldn't get here fast enough. I cannot wait. My kid, he plays with the AAA Blues 10U 2016. They've got their first game this weekend already. So they're already playing this weekend. So hockey is officially here. When it comes to the youth hockey, the season has officially started. We've got games as soon as this weekend. Teams coming in from out of town 2 weeks from now. So we're here already. And we're still in August, which is just crazy to me. I think by the time we get to October, like more than a third of their schedule is going to be played already. They go through February, and then the spring season obviously gets going too. So it's a lot of hockey these kids play. All right, let's take a break. We'll catch up with Jamal Mayers next and kind of shoot some stuff with him. Don't forget, Maddox Dagenais is going to be with us here on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. So stick around for that. You're not going to want to miss Maddox Dagenais. Better get Mako. Yes, sir. You might want to take your car to Mako. They've got some different locations, but focus on the one in Kirkwood. That's where they have the most experience and just incredible, talented people who work out of the Mako location. I've taken my wife's car there. I've taken other family members' cars there. Listeners who have reached out to me have taken their cars to Mako as well. And everyone says the same thing. Unbelievable customer service. They're honest. But more importantly, the work is just absolutely incredible. So the work that they do at Mako is what separates them from everybody else. Isn't that kind of what's most important anyway? You want to make sure that they actually do good work, I mean, that would be my most important quality that I would look for, when you're trying to take your car in. They focus on drivable cars, by the way. So if you can't drive your car, probably shouldn't take it in there. They want to get cars in and out as quick as possible. So if you can't drive it, I mean, if it's that messed up, I don't know if that's the best option for you. They can still fix it, but they prefer you to bring, a vehicle that is considered drivable, just because of what I'm talking about. I mean, it's just, you want to make sure, obviously, they can get you in and no one wants to drop your car off and then all of a sudden have it taking, 3 weeks for you to get it back. And that's the thing. They're very, very quick. They've got the free written estimates that can be scheduled on the phone, online, or to stop on by. 7:30 to 5 p.m. You got to love that. Great working relationships with all the insurance companies, too, and all the fleet management companies. They're the best, man, I'm telling you. Best price guaranteed, too. They've got that best price guarantee. You won't pay more than you would expect to pay. Great pricing, great people, great work over there at Mako in Kirkwood. Better get Mako. Go visit the Kirkwood location. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Again, download that app and do it today. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Blue Note Roofing. Call David Novak, 314-920-5713. Again, this is Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Find the branch nearest you. Do your banking the right way. All right, Jamal Mayers, Jammer, he joins me next. Nothing really going on, but we'll find something to talk to Jammer about. And Maddox Dagenais, 16th overall pick, he joins us on this edition of Hockey Sense. So lots more to come. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out. All right, welcome back into Hockey Sense. Great to have you with us. Brought to you by First Community. Listen, I love talking to the draft picks. You know, it's kind of the dog days of the summer, trying to get everyone excited about training camp that's around the corner. And you know, one reason to get excited is because you get your eyes on Maddox Dagenais for the first time for a lot of people. They haven't had a chance to see him play unless you're watching games in the Quebec League, which most people aren't probably in the St. Louis area or down here in the States. But we've seen the highlights, Maddox. Congratulations on being selected by the Blues, getting drafted into the National Hockey League, and you know, about to attend your first NHL camp. So you have to be excited about that. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
What's it been like over the course of the last month or so since getting drafted? I mean, how long did it take you to kind of come down and just really refocus and get back to work?
I mean, it didn't take like really much time. I think, when I left St. Louis after the dev camp, I think just you come back with a mindset that, you want to make it and, it's another level. So I think didn't take much time.
What was your reaction at the draft to getting selected 16th overall? I think for a lot of people, they had you maybe expected to go a little bit lower, still probably in the first round, but maybe not as high as 16. Were you surprised to hear your name or were you expecting it?
I mean, I didn't want myself to put, a rank or somewhere I wanted to be because anything could happen. So I think I know I'm good. I know I could have been 16 or 25. So I think just being drafted for St. Louis, I'm so happy, and I'm gonna make sure that they never regret that pick.
I don't know if you saw the video recently. You know, Big Walt, Keith Kachuk talking about you, the scouting staff talking about you in the draft room. Did you know they were high on you? Did you know St. Louis really liked you?
Not really. I like a meeting with my agent before the draft, and just go team by team who likes me or who's maybe gonna draft me, and uh, I think St. Louis maybe played me a little bit to not say to the other team that they like me. So I was really not expecting it.
Listen, you got a big body, you're long, long stick, and you know you can really shoot the puck, but you're great in front of the net as well. Like how would you describe your game? What's your biggest strength in your opinion?
Yeah, I think when I'm competing, I think I respect my game come easily. I think just being physical, just get me into my game, and for sure, I think I've been working my shots, till with my dad so many times. So I think my shots probably one of my biggest asset, and for sure using my size, I think is just what create opportunity for myself and my teammates. So yeah, I think as a big player, you for sure you're a little bit of a power forward, and for sure I like to put some offense in that role.
All right, so growing up in Quebec, like who's your favorite player you like to watch? Who was your team growing up? Was it the Canadians?
For sure my dad played there, but just watching Chicago, Pittsburgh, all those good players were playing on those teams. So for sure watching those teams, but like you said, for sure I'm from Montreal. My dad played there, so for sure I had Montreal in the back of my mind.
Listen, entering last year, like take me back a year ago today. Like when you're entering your draft season, like how much pressure do you feel and what were your expectations for yourself? And what's the advice you give to kids who are going to be in that position heading into this year, knowing that, you know, they want to make a good impression and put themselves as high up the charts as possible to give them the best chance to go as high as possible.
Yeah, I think the main key is to for sure it's easy to say, but don't think about it. I think before Christmas, I was just thinking too much about it, and all the people in the stand and all the social media stuff, and after Christmas or even before that, I just stopped watching all those things and worrying about the people and try to control thing I can't control. So I just just come to the rink every day with a smile on your face and, try to learn and, just have fun on the ice and don't think about anything else. So I think I just did that and, my game went up and, just try to help your team win.
Social media is huge, man. I mean, it's hard to get away from it, isn't it? And like, be honest with me. Are you looking at the rankings? Are you seeing what people are saying about you? Are people telling you nonstop what others are saying? Like, how do you manage that?
Like I said, before Christmas, maybe, I was watching it a lot and, all those stuff and, all the noise. But, yeah, like I said, after Christmas, I shut that down and, just worrying about the team and, every game and, just week by week and day by day. So, yeah, for sure, it's hard to not look at it and, you see your name popped out and but at the end of the day, after Christmas, there's a lot of game left and, you know, you just can't get better. So I think just watching that can just not help you.
How did you feel about your season last year? And did you feel like you put yourself in the best position possible?
Like I said, maybe I had a little slow start. Uh, like I said, because of certain stuff that, I think I was still learning and I think just to learn that last year, it's just in my baggage. But yeah, I think kind of learned my game last year. All the prospect game, the Q1 and the CHL. You're just playing different scenarios. Uh, at the CHL prospect game, I was playing fourth line and less minutes than Quebec. So I think just learning different scenarios. Like I said, I think you just show a team that you can play anywhere and anytime. So yeah, I think it was a learning still last year, and it's just I'm just gonna keep building on it next year.
You came in to the Quebec League first overall pick. Is that like a big like? Do people remind you of that all the time? Your dad was the first overall pick too. I think you guys were the first father son to ever be first overall pick in the Quebec League. So that's quite an honor and had to be a lot of fun for your family. But once you get into the league, like, are people mentioning that all the time, or is it not really talked about?
Yeah, for sure. At 16, that's it's a big thing. Even getting joked from a teammate. So yeah, I think at 16 it was something, but at 17 it slowed down a little bit, and it's your draft year, so it's your draft year, and also a little bit behind, but yeah, I think just being drafted first, it's something great and something you've worked all your life for, and yeah, I think it just prepare you for the NHL.
Has hockey always been, would you call it an obsession? Like, are you obsessed with the game? Like, can you not get enough of it? Like, how often are you on the ice? And like, at what age did you really ramp up your training where you're skating, I mean, several times a day on your own, away from your team, really starting to get into the gym and focusing on making hockey your life?
Yeah, I think when you became obsessed with it, I think it's hard to stop you, and when you get the will inside of you. Uh, but yeah, I think for sure, my dad put me into that mindset uh, into my young age. So, uh, but yeah, for sure, I think when you like being in the gym and you enjoy it, and you enjoy, I think hard practice and every of those things, I think it's when it's hard to stop you. And I think, yeah, for sure, I think it for sure maybe not as a young age you have that mindset, but I think just keep being on it, and yeah, for sure, I think in junior you have to have it, and even more at the next level.
All right, so you mentioned your dad. So Pierre, he played in the NHL, and you've mentioned him a couple times now, Maddox. So how much influence has he had over your career? Was he your coach growing up, or was he more just a hockey dad helping you on the side? How much were you guys working off the ice around the house and in the driveway and the basement and whatnot?
Oh yeah. He coached me sometime, more during the summer hockey. Uh, but yeah, I think he's always been my role model, and he's kind of like my best friend. So every day he's trying to teach me something about hockey. Even during the year, he's just he's just my dad. He's not trying to be my coach. So I think just having a dad who played NHL is just a key for me. Just showing me what can improve on, and yeah, like you said, I've been shooting so many pucks in my basement outside. So yeah, it's just having me is just getting me improve at every aspect of the game.
All right, so take me through your summer routine. What are you doing on a daily basis? I mean, I'm sure you're in the gym, but walk me through, your training in terms of what you got going on right now.
Yeah, during the week, like the days are kind of different. Monday, it's like gym in the morning after my skating coach at 3. Uh, Helped me so much. Maybe at 16, it was pretty hard turning on the left or the right, and I think it just improved my skating last year and helped me so much to just beat defensemen and just faster in the corner, every stuff like that. So for sure, I'm gonna keep doing that those practice and just a little bit of cardio at the end. After Tuesday, it's the fun one. Wake up at 5 and at 6 in the turf. You just just jump, sprints, cardio, and everything like that. Wednesday, it's same day as Monday. Gym is Thursday, same thing. Turf. Start doing box turf on the Thursday. Slow it down a little bit the turf. So doing box. Did that yesterday. I'm pretty sore. And then Friday, it's gym, and I think my afternoon to myself. I think it's just important to just playing golf or doing something else in the gym. So maybe sometime practice. So yeah, it's fun.
Do you play any like pickup hockey? Like, are there a lot of pros around where you're at who you can kind of go and I'm sure you're training with a bunch of guys, but if you guys just want to go play a little bit of shinny and just put a puck out there and go play some 3-on-3 or whatever you guys do, can you do that too?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty new to Quebec. Yeah, I'm staying here this summer, so when there's a missing guy, just just text me and I go. So Tuesday often, sometime Monday. Just it's important to play games to keep you fresh. So yeah, for sure been playing some game.
So how'd you learn English so well? Like, have you always been able to speak the language as well as you do right now?
Oh no, I went to Ontario for 2 years for hockey. Uh, I think it was one spec that we wanted to be there because of my English. Just learning. Because we knew that I'm going junior. Some people speak English, and my dad first camp in junior because I have to speak English, so I didn't want myself to be like him. But yeah, I think it was important for us to go to Ontario, not only for English, but there's a like academy for myself to all for development, for time on the ice, and for time off the ice, and it just really helped me as a hockey player and also as a person.
So where'd you go play in Ontario?
Belleville, like one of the Sens
Yeah.
AHL teams. Yeah, played there 1 year, played Kingston 1 year, then came back to Quebec.
Did you go to an academy or were you just going to play like AAA hockey there?
Yeah, it was AAA hockey, and on the side was just like practice at the
Okay.
academy.
How many colleges are after you right now? Like, is that an option that that you'd consider, or you're not really looking at that?
Maybe more during the summer. Yeah, there's some rumor about all those stuff, Penn State, but yeah, I think my main focus right now is Quebec. Don't really talk to any university right now. Uh, you know, just trying to work out every day and just focusing on Quebec and this year and what we can achieve.
So when you're growing up in Quebec, are you even familiar with college hockey? Like, do you pay attention to it at all? I mean, now you're seeing a lot more kids come down from Canada because they can, and you got a lot of NHL kids, obviously that played NCAA college hockey. So how familiar are you with college hockey?
Yeah, for sure. My bantam year, my last one before junior hockey, was talking to some university about going there and playing USHL. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with those university and everything. Uh, Kind of almost went there. So, but yeah, I think the best bets for me was to be junior and just learn the game and the defensive part and just the consistency and everything. So yeah, I think I made the best choice for me, and I'm gonna keep doing that.
So listen, I love watching your highlights, and you see the net front goals. your ability to find loose pucks in front of the net. Great release. You can really shoot the puck off the rush, but I love the reverse hits, man. So who really introduced that to where it became a big part of your game? Was that something you just naturally developed? Who taught you
Yeah,
that?
it was actually, but no one showed me that. It's just from myself. Uh, couldn't tell you where it began and everything, but yeah, I think it's just one way to caught people by surprise and they're not ready, and just create more space for myself. And after second time they try to hit me, they're maybe gonna hesitate or something like that. So I think it's just a positive for me, and yeah, I think I'm gonna just keep using it next year.
You know who was great with the reverse hits? TJ Oshie, one of them. I mean, unbelievable with the reverse hits, but also Alexander Steen, the Blues general manager. He used to
Oh
catch
yeah.
guys off guard all the time. You could probably find some of those on YouTube, but he was a great reverse hitter. Who does it in the NHL right now that you watch or you notice? Do you see anybody really doing it that has caught your attention?
Not really,
No.
not really. Uh, you know, maybe I'm watching other stuff in the NHL then reverse it, but
Yeah. Don't lose that, Maddox. Keep that in your toolbox. You
yeah,
know?
I know. I just gotta be smart and not using it too much. And yeah, I think for sure my coach is helping me with that also. So yeah, I think I got great people around me to help me with that also.
All right. So how was Dev Camp? You come into St. Louis, and it was different this year because you guys didn't skate. We're used to seeing scrimmages and having an opportunity to see you guys go out there and have a practice. So we didn't get that this year. You guys were doing different things. So how was it kind of getting to meet people inside the organization?
Yeah, for sure. It's you don't realize yet that you're a part of a NHL organization, so it's a little bit weird. But as you get to meet the GM, the owner, and everything, the coaches. So yeah, I think it was amazing for my part. I think just also meeting new player, around the world and Russian, everything. So I think it was just a learning experience for me, and just prepare you for the camp. And we had some great time with each other and just learning you know, the the player, the staff, and everything. So I think it was just unbelievable.
It was probably hot. It gets really hot here in the
Oh
start
yeah,
time. It was
oh
so
yeah.
hot.
I was not expecting that.
What was your favorite part about St. Louis, though, just in terms of,
Yeah.
being here for the first time? Had you ever been here before?
No, I think you just see that the fans are so passionate, and it's a sports city. So that's what I like. And just having that in St. Louis, it's unbelievable to have a sports city there.
Yeah, they love it here. They love the hockey here, man. A lot of NHL kids now in the league from St. Louis too, man. So you've got some good players from St. Louis. So, um, they're excited to obviously see you. So, who did you get to know? Did you know anybody any of the other prospects? Like, had you known anybody before you got here or no?
Yeah, for sure. I knew the Lawrence, play with team cap stuff and everything. So knew him, great friend of mine, and for sure Carbonell. I didn't knew him firstly, but you know, live at Quebec, so I've been doing some stuff with him, playing golf. Actually, playing golf this afternoon with him. So yeah, I think just having those people with me just helped me to get into the team and meet other people. So it was nice having them with me, and learn some new face also from my draft year and before. So yeah, I think bunch of great guys.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're going to golf with Carbonneau today. He's a great goal scorer. Like, how good of a player you think he is? He's one of the best players in the Quebec League for sure. So you're familiar with his game. I'm sure you played against him, or you certainly see his highlights if you didn't. But what should we know about him, man? What are your impressions of him as a player and as a goal scorer?
Yeah, for sure. He's one of a kind. I think it's easy for him to put the puck in the net, and I just see him this summer work hard, and I think he earned those goal and earned everything he's got right now. So I'm happy for him, and for sure I'm looking to play with him in the future.
Are you guys training together this summer? Is that what you guys are doing?
No, but like we're using the same skating coach.
Got it. Got it. And then Tyler Lawrence, man, what's your scouting report on him?
Yeah, he's like a bulldog. Never stopped skating. You know, been playing with him a little bit at U18, and it's easy to play with him. Great passer, can shoot the puck also, and he's like a motor. So yeah, happy to have him with me, and for sure, looking forward to play with him also.
What are you most excited about for main camp coming up with NHL training camp? It's a little bit different because you don't have as many preseason games and it's a little bit of a shorter camp, maybe from that standpoint. But what are you most excited about coming back to St. Louis for NHL camp?
Yeah, uh, I think just having the mindset to do my best and try to make the team. Uh, I think if make that mindset, I think it's just helping you to perform at your best. And yeah, I think just learning also. It's my first kind of like pro year ish to learn all the pro and what they're doing and the pro games. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a big learning experience, just asking question and I think yeah, like I said, it's gonna be perfect for me and try to stay the longest possible there and trying to I'm going back to Quebec just to trying to you know keep that pro mindset and just bring it to Quebec and show the young guys.
Yeah, man, I got you. I'm sure you've looked at the Blues, some highlights from last year, and looked at the roster. Is there anybody that really catches your attention that you're excited to be able to watch up close and get to meet?
Yeah, I think there's so many good players. Just got McTavish also, so yeah, I think got a good young core and yeah, like I said, there's not maybe one guy particularly, but bunch of great guys that are playing NHL. So I think just watching all those guys and trying to learn from them, and I think it's just gonna be a fun week for me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I know everyone's excited to see you on the ice. How tall are you now? What are you, 6'4"? The doctors say you're still growing. Are you done, Maddox?
Yeah, I just got 6'4".
You just got to 6'4". So that's where
Or
you're at right now, right? You're 6'4"?
6'4" and maybe some more a little bit.
Maybe you can get to 6'5", right?
Yeah, hope
You want to
so.
put weight on? Is that your goal? You still want to get a little bigger or what?
Yeah, I put like 5 this summer. I'm like 203 right now.
Good for
It's
you,
pretty
man.
nice. Yeah,
That's awesome. Our last thing for you. Did you hear Keith Kachuk say that he thinks you can score 40 in the NHL? Like, did you see that video or no?
it did.
No pressure, man. Don't feel pressure. He's not trying to put the pressure on you. Knowing
Oh,
that he
he's just
probably didn't even want that to get out, but like it did. So it gets people excited though, man. I mean, you gotta feel good that a player of his caliber is going into the Hall of Fame, respects your game that much, right?
yeah, I think just having those people believing in me and what I'm capable of and all those stuff and yeah, like I said, do my best to score 40 and but no, actually, I'm gonna just do my best to learn and everything like that and you know just do my best and make it in NHL one day. So yeah, just having those people believing in me and know what I can do. It's nice to see it.
I love it. Last thing for you. When you came to St. Louis, before you left, like, did you have a chance to sit down and talk to Jim Montgomery, the head coach, or Alexander Steen, or Doug Armstrong,
Actually,
anybody around the Blues? Did you have a chance to sit down and talk with them? And what they tell you before you left to go back home?
yeah, I talked with Steen and Doug. Yeah, just meeting those people in real life is it's nice to see it, and nice to see that they pick you and they believe in you, and they kind of said to me that you're part of your future now, and you're a big part of it, and we believe in us, we believe in you, sorry, and yeah, I think just showing yourself that you're important for them, and yeah, I think just seeing that and seeing all the other guys talking to you, and it's pretty nice to see it, and you know you want to work so hard for them because they believe in you, and it just give you more like motivation and mindset to make it there one day.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. What'd you do to celebrate in Buffalo the night you got drafted?
I
It's
didn't
kind of
have
a
time.
small town, you know?
Yeah, I didn't have time, and I did Quebec here a couple weeks ago with my Remparts friend and my family. So yeah, it was nice. It was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect it. So yeah, it's nice to see people care for me and is happy for me. So yeah,
Okay, I love it, man. All the best. Enjoy the rest of the summer. When are you coming into St. Louis? Mid September or so? Like early September?
yeah,
Okay. Well, we'll see you when you get here, man. And then looking forward to seeing you on the ice and we'll see you during training camp. So appreciate you doing this. Enjoy the rest of the summer and appreciate it, Maddox. Thanks a lot, man.
sounds good. Thank you.
Take care. All right, Jamal is with us from Hawaii. You should have a hula necklace on or
I
whatever.
know.
You know, like a shell necklace or one of those. Did they give it to you when you got off the plane?
They did not. They did not, and, I'm a little disappointed in, American Airlines because we did not get a lei, I think they're called, when you get off the
Yeah,
plane,
like
and, what'd be nice is if we're doing a luau tonight, so I'm hoping that we'll get one and we'll be able to do it then, so we'll see.
how's that's a long flight, by the way.
Oh, goodness, and I'm gonna pan a little bit unexpectedly. If you could see out the window, the
Mhm.
weather today, there is a tropical storm that's coming just, I want to say, west of us. It is going to hit the Big Island, or did last night overnight. So there's a tropical storm coming through, which not what we really wanted or needed or thought would happen. The game on Sunday might be moved up to Saturday, but I digress.
Okay. So I've been to Maui. Have you been to Hawaii before or no?
This is my third time. Yes,
Okay. I love Hawaii though. It's so
it
nice.
is.
So nice.
It is.
So, and how was the soccer game before we get going? Like, I know you guys won the game. Like, describe the level of soccer at the D1 level versus like the highest level of ECNL soccer. I mean, like, is it a whole nother level or what?
Yeah, it's another level. I would argue. I would say that it's every team's top four players make up the team. So you're dealing with, and then you know Kansas State's in the Power Four conferences, so that's even another level of college soccer. So it's they beat Seattle 4-0. Texas Tech is also here. They're 23rd in the country coming into the season. They beat Hawaii yesterday 1-0. So
Mm,
it was a good showing for Kansas State in the first game. If they can beat Hawaii by more than one, then that puts them in a good position in the preseason pool, and hopefully they get
yeah.
some consideration in the top 25.
All right. So, and good luck to the Wildcats here the rest of the way. Um, it's so interesting. Like the defensemen right now in the NHL, they get so much attention. There's so many great superstars on the back end. When you look at Makar and Hughes and Werenski and Hudson and what's his name in Edmonton, you got all these guys that
Bouchard.
are just a Bouchard, who had over 90 points last year. Is this the best collection of offensive defensemen maybe we've ever seen, like top to bottom? I'm not saying the best ever. I mean, you've had Paul Coffey and other guys that have come through the NHL in the past, but just in terms of having all these guys at once.
I think there are, yeah, a plethora of defensemen that have shown that they can, play today's game. And what's interesting, I think, is that a lot of these guys aren't the biggest guys. The big thing they have the most in common, I would argue, is their skating ability. And I think that's a lesson for a lot of parents out there. A lot of teams love to build their teams around unbelievably gifted in size, but I think it all comes down to skating. Skating is the ability to defend, skating closes gaps, skating gives you the ability to join the rush. So if there's a lesson there for any hockey player out there, it's to work on your skating, to be a proficient skater, regardless of your position. But more importantly, if you're a defenseman, your ability to get yourself out of trouble, close gaps, um, really allows you at any size to have success playing the position.
Yeah, I think it should get confidence to smaller players knowing they can play I've talked to Torrey Krug about that before too. I mean, he's a guy who was always overlooked and then had to constantly prove himself and ended up turning himself into a really good player. But the reality is, I mean, you look at the draft. I mean, there's not many guys who get drafted high. You know, like the Hugheses and the Lane Hudsons. They're still being overlooked. You're seeing some of these guys show up, but I had somebody on a few weeks ago who did like an analysis. I mean, you're just not finding too many guys under 6 feet or under 5'10", 5'11", who teams are really taking a chance on. But these guys are special, special players. They're almost outliers, Jamal.
It's a great point. I think though there needs to be a deeper understanding of what they are relative to their peer group. I think the challenge for scouts, and they would probably say, yeah, obviously, is how do you project someone who's having success at 15, 16, 17, 18, and they're smaller, like the Hudsons, and you're wondering, and the Hughes, and you're wondering, can he reproduce that at the next level? That's got to be an unbelievably difficult challenge, and no one wants to put their neck on the line because I'm sure a lot of them thought they could, but the challenge becomes I don't want to be that guy to make that decision, and so they end up sliding in the draft, and the teams that have the courage to draft them get rewarded.
You know, n- sometimes when you see these guys get exposed, it's in the playoffs, Jamal. And you're a guy who would you'd be licking your chops, man. You'd be putting the puck in the corner of these guys all the time and going after the puck and going to get it. And I don't see Hughes get hit a ton, but I saw him get hit in the playoffs. Hudson gets hit a lot. Like, I mean, as shifty as he is, he got hit hard in the playoffs. So that is at the end of the day, you are what you are size wise, and you got to find a way to avoid the punishment because, and we saw the Blues do that to Eric Carlson years ago. I mean, these guys, if you get hit, you can manage them a little easier, right?
Under 1,000%. I think the challenge for them is, I'm not a small guy. I was when I played 6'1", maybe 215 ish, and I could skate. And I didn't have the puck. So if I didn't have the puck, I could pretty much catch most defensemen. And my only objective was to be physical on them. There was a good chance I would get them at least 3 or 4 times in a game. So you're right. I think, and back then I think there were more guys like but there are still, and I think that number goes up in the playoffs because third and fourth line players who are skilled that are on the third line are being told if you want to play in the playoffs, we need you to be physical against this guy. So even if it's out of character in today's game, you're right. Those players are getting hit more in the playoffs because that is the plan. The plan is to slow them down to make sure that by game 6 and 7, they're playing not as healthy as they normally would be.
Mm. And they're hearing those footsteps. Hey, some people put Lane Hudson as high as in their top five among defensemen in the NHL already. I don't know if I put him that high, but he's not far below if you don't have him in your top five. He's so talented. If you're Minnesota right now, how nervous are you? Like, is it too early to be nervous with the fact that Quinn Hughes isn't signed yet? I think most people expected him to have a deal by now.
Yeah, I think that it is a little concerning. Obviously, I think that Billy Guerin is going to have to basically give him whatever he wants. That's the reality, right? So if he wants 20 million, he's going to get it. Like you can't give up what he gave up to get him, and then have him leave. So I think what we're misconstruing is I think when Hughes wants to stay there, wants to be there. I think the issue is Billy G wants him to sign for 8 years and letting him know we'll go get people like your brother in a few years. And my guess is that Quinn is more like I'd rather sign 3 years to line up with my brother,
Mhm.
or at the most I'll do 5, something around in that area. So I think that's probably the issue. I don't think the issue is him staying. I think he signed there. I just don't know whether it'll be 3 years or it'll be longer.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think that's the concern. I think if you're Billy G, you just don't want to sign him and take him up to when he's almost a given that he's going to leave. If he does want to go team up with his brothers, but it's interesting, man. I don't know. I would be a little bit nervous. You do have Kale McCarr who's unsigned too, and Joe Sakic has come out and said, "Hey, we're gonna get it done. He's gonna resign." And so there's way less angst, I think, with the Avalanche fans than maybe there is with the Wild fans right now. But he's not signed either. And if you're Quinn Hughes, are you waiting until McCarr signs, or do you want to be the first one to sign, and vice versa?
Yeah, I think they're each waiting for each other, and I think that it's probably more likely that Quinn Hughes signs before Makar, and I think it would behoove Makar to wait because let's assume if you already have um Kaprizov that got that enormous number, so it's very likely that Hughes is going to get above that number. So let's call it 18, 19, or 20. If that's what Hughes ends up getting, you could very well argue if you're Makar that you deserve a little bit more. So let's say the number is 18. You could very easily demand 20 if you're Makar. But you could also look like a great guy and ask for 18 and a half, 19. You look like you're taking a team discount and you gotta
Yeah.
optics make it look like you're being a good team guy and you end up with 19. So I think that he's in a great position, but it's really, really I think it probably served Makar more by waiting than it does Quinn Hughes.
What do you make of all this, though? I mean, owners are just they've got to be livid at the Philadelphia Flyers, man. I mean, it is just where this is taken everything and how it's just and I don't think this is going to be something, Jamal, that's going to be a lasting effect. I think this is a maybe this offseason, maybe into next offseason. Then I think it's going to settle down when the cap doesn't quite go up nearly as high from one year to the next in terms of these giant increases that we're going to see over the next 2 years or so. But still, man, I mean, for Philly to do this with and I like Leo Carlson, but he's still like an unfinished product. It's just he's so overpaid for based on what he's done. I don't know if we'll be saying that when it's all said and done because he is so talented, but they can't be happy with where this has gone so quickly.
Honestly, I think this was going to get there. I think that it escalated and you put gasoline on the fire for it to happen quicker. But because the cap was going up, the top players were going to get closer to the 20%. That's just the reality. Historically, you could look at it, and that's exactly what happens. All the top players are gonna get closer to that 20% of the cap, and he's under that number. So I think the number will look even more normal in 3 or 4 years. But you're right, it did pour gasoline on it. It did expedite it. It did kind of, you know, make everyone else go, okay, what's my number going to be? And I think that the reality is the owners are making more. The reality is I don't think they can be that upset. It's tied to revenue. That it's a cap world. So as much as they may be upset, that is the system that they have. And the players are entitled, and especially the best players in the league are entitled to get the most possible, and 20% is the maximum. And the reality is this: I think we should focus less on what that number means and how it's poured gasoline on all those things. I think what we should focus on more about is that it's going to become more normalized to have 5 or 6 players on your roster that are making 10 and 11 and 12 because now you're going to be able to fit them. I think that's the more interesting part is where do those players who are currently making what 8, 9, 10 that could then go to a really good team and make the same number, perhaps maybe $2 million less than what they could make on the open market, but align themselves in a winning environment, making over $10 million and having 5 of their buddies making over $10 million and a few of the guys on the team, the top guys making 18, 19.
Mm. I mean, assuming all these owners can afford that. I was talking to Daryl Sutter the other day when he was GM of the Flames. He's like, we had a $39 million payroll, and the Rangers and the Red Wings had $80 million pay. We couldn't compete. There was no way to compete. So you look at baseball; they're about to go into a lockout. Who knows how much they're going to miss next season? I just hope it doesn't turn into that. I know the cap is going up, but I don't know if every owner is going to be able to compete with the big dogs.
Very true. I think that that's the reality that you hope that the owners hope that the cap system would help protect them against. But again, it's tied to revenue, and they have revenue. The bottom teams will get a kickback as the system sets up, and if they still can't survive, then you may argue that they shouldn't be in the league. So it's there's not much else you can do. Anything then the argument comes: Are we expanding too quickly? Are the teams that shouldn't be in the league? Meanwhile, we're already thinking about adding Houston, adding Atlanta. So
Yeah.
in one breath, we're talking about how difficult it's going to be for teams to stay in the league. In the other breath, we're talking about the league's looking at expanding 2 more teams. So
I got you. I got you. One last thing for you. Wereski, I mean, it sounded like he wanted his way out. He was like the on the long list of American players who won that gold medal, who all of a sudden just wanted to like leave their teams, and now he's saying that he would maybe even consider sticking around in Columbus. I mean, do you believe that? I mean, do you think Columbus has to show him something over the course of the next year or so to really have him buy into the Blue Jackets long term? Like, where do you stand on Werenski? Because I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to leave, would you?
No, I think you're right. I think emotionally he was exhausted from this situation. He saw their players when he won the Olympics and realized, I don't have to stay here. And I think that a light went on in him, realizing like maybe it's time for him to start expressing that. And I think that probably the part that he's probably regrets is that it got out. I think that those conversations are healthy. The friction that happens between the best players, or you know, really good players, or players that are part of good important part of your organization, and management, where there is arguments, there is friction, there is, I want to know what the plan is. What are we doing here? We haven't made the playoff. Those things are healthy. If you have a player of Werenski's status that is okay with the way of things have gone for the last 5 years, then what are you really building there? So I first of all, I think that that's important to state, that it's a good thing that he's not happy about it. Second point is that, yeah, the organization does need to show him. And I think they also needed to do some damage control, because God forbid he goes into Columbus in his home game and gets booed because the fans all know he wanted to leave. So yeah, they had to go back on it a little bit and say that he wants to stay. And I think that that's normal um, course of action for the organization to kind of do some backpedaling a little bit and help protect the player. So um, bottom line is he is a top 5 defenseman in the league. They would be in a very difficult position without him. They have to draft and develop their top players and keep them. And so it's going to
Mm.
be important that they take a step. And if they take a step, then he'll want to stay.
Yeah, and his best friend is Dylan Larkin. He saw what he was going through. What do you make out of that, real quick? I think the Larkin situation. We have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think he stays. I think he ends up staying. I think that Stevie Y repositioning himself in the organization kind of quiets things down and buys them some time to get things back in order. And I think that all Dylan Larkin really wanted was to win.
Yeah, and cooler heads prevail there in Detroit. Be curious to see who they end up settling in on as their next general manager. All right, who brings you to Hockey Sense, Jamal? Live from Hawaii.
Well, you know it's Dobbs. It's a family-owned business. They're unbelievable people. They have over 43 locations in the St. Louis area. And it doesn't matter what you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, EV, they'll take care of you. They get your car in, up, fixed, and out the same day. And you know what? When I need new tires, and we've talked about this before, yeah, if you need two tires replaced, to replace 2 tires, they're not gonna make you buy all 4. Or if you really need the 4, they'll get you in a non-name brand if that's what you want, that's what your budget fits. They'll find you the tire. You want all seasons, they'll make sure that happens. They're great people. They'll get your car in. They always have deals on all the top name brand names as well. So they're not just a tire shop. They will diagnose your vehicle. They get it fixed. They'll get it ready. And you don't even have to have an appointment. That's the best thing about them. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
I love it. All right, who puts the on spot?
Well, first of all, local master spa dealer with 2 locations, Sunset Hills in Missouri and Overland Park in Kansas. You've got Mike Leahy is the owner. His daughter, Angie Haas, does a fantastic job running the show at the Sunset Hills location. And they also have the chili coat tubs and infrared saunas and all the rest. Doesn't matter what you need. They have high quality hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, infrared saunas for everyone's health, wellness, and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard into the oasis of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More, Spas and More, located at 12957 Bravo Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the in spa.
In spa. All right, we have our first hockey game this weekend, by the way. I mean, hockey's starting earlier than ever. It's like a first practice game. Hockey has started. So enjoy Hawaii, then come back, and obviously you'll be back into the full swing of things as well with hockey. So looking forward to seeing you back in studio next week, Jamal.
Looking forward to it. Good luck this weekend. We play tonight as well. So Crew had an appendectomy, as we talked about last week, but he's on the mend, and we'll be ready when we get back for practice on Tuesday.
Okay, I love it. I love it. All right. All the best, man. Safe travels home. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right, great show today. And listen, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support that we get throughout the summer. I know there's not always a lot going on, but we can get great guests on here, always have some content, always something to talk about. Watch that summer showcase. All the Canadian fans, like, they're tweeting at me and being like, what do you got to say now about Canada? I'm like, settle down. I mean, I'm glad that you guys won the Hlinka Gretzky. They had a great team. I mean, some of those players are going to be on the World Junior team. And a lot of future first-round picks and NHL players on that roster for Canada. But let me remind you, USA, we don't send our top roster to the Hlinka Gretzky tournament. This is an opportunity for the next grouping of American-born players to get some exposure and play in front of NHL scouts. I mean, it is a draft tournament for draft-eligible players. But the NTDP team, which typically goes and plays in the U18 World Championships in the spring, where Canada doesn't send their top players all the time to the U18s. I always point that out because their best players a lot of times are playing in the CHL playoffs in the spring, so they don't have their best roster. The Americans try to send their best roster to the U18s, but this is an opportunity for that next group of players to get some exposure, and I love the fact that they do that, and they still found a way to get to the championship game. But real impressive performance by Canada. It was good to see Tynan Lawrence out there playing. Well, he's young, man. I mean, he's basically the same age as a lot of these draft-eligible players. I don't think he turns 18. I think he just turned 18 on August 3rd, I think. In early August. I want to say August 3rd was his birthday. So big shout out. Happy birthday to Tynan Lawrence, who's headed back to Boston University. I would expect big things from him. I've really done a lot of research on him, and people really like this kid as a player. Obviously, the Blues do. They took him 11th overall. But, there was so much focus on him leaving Muskegon. Go listen to Pat Maroon, by the way, on the Camistrick podcast, because I asked him about Tynan Lawrence. His son played with Tynan in Muskegon for half a year last year. But he got to see him a lot. He was on the ice with him. Patty was kind of helping out with the coaching staff there. And it gave a great breakdown on Tynan Lawrence. Somebody should find that and post that. What Patty Maroon had to say about Tynan Lawrence. I really liked what he said about a great breakdown, actually. Way more than I expected. I wasn't expecting to go as in-depth about Lawrence as he did, but it was good to hear from Patty Maroon on the Blues' first of two first-round picks from the 2026 NHL draft. The second one obviously being Maddox Dagenais. And listen, good for him, man. This guy knows English. He's got a really interesting game in terms of how he plays, man. He's got great size. I'm really excited to see how he evolves into an NHL prospect and a pro prospect. Which he already is. He's drafted in the first round, so he is a prospect. But just how his development is this year, and if he is able to maintain, that physicality that he plays with. Talks about he's already added muscle, added weight, which I'm sure the organization is excited to hear because they want him to. Something he's going to have to do. He's a very lean player, at 6'4", he's very thin. So when he fills out, man, he's going to be a handful, and I think his skating is getting better. He's talking about the work that he's putting in, talking to other people. It sounds like that his skating has really gotten better. So you can never stop improving. Even at, 18, 19 years of age, you're constantly trying to get better. And you see this from NHL players right now. I don't think you'd find a single NHL player that hasn't been training pretty much every day, all week long, on their skating, skill work, and everything else, man. And guess what? The ones who aren't doing it are probably the ones who fall behind. And you can't hide anymore. If you're not putting the work in, you just can't hide. Doesn't matter how old you are. I see it with young kids, too. You can tell right off the bat who's put the work in and who hasn't. And the ones who haven't put the work in, they're so far behind, and they got to get to Christmas time before they really catch up. But you don't want to put yourself behind the 8 ball, man. It's become a 12-month commitment. Doesn't mean you can't play other sports, but you got to stay locked in. You got to stay committed. There's no question. First Community brings us Hockey Sense. Again, find the branch nearest you. So many different bank accounts for you. different ways to save your money, different ways to use your money. They've got vacation savings accounts. They've got savings accounts for young people, youth savings accounts. Um, they've got holiday savings accounts. So all of a sudden, when you get hit with those big bills around the holiday season, you've got the money saved up through First Community. I love all the different options they have, and they've got branches everywhere. So find the First Community branch near you. And again, a big shout out to SIUE, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, as First Community now has the jersey rights. So you see the First Community logo on all their jerseys, all sports across the board at SIUE. So we love that. And we love the fact that First Community, our title sponsor here on Hockey Sense. Arco Construction is now back with us, by the way, the leader in developing ice rinks here in St. Louis. I mean, they built the Centene Community Ice Center, the Shark Tank, the Maryville University Ice Rink. Um, I know we have some new ice rinks here in town as well, but they are the leader when it comes to building ice rinks here in St. Louis. Nobody does it like Arco Construction. They're the absolute best. Um, so next time you're in one of these rinks, understand that you are there because of the great people over at Arco Construction. They're building rinks all over the place, and not just in St. Louis. They go outside of St. Louis too. But if you're looking to build a rink, give Arco Construction a call. You can reach out to me and I'll point you in the right direction of who you should talk to. But John Comlos and company, Jeff Cook, everybody over there does an amazing job with Arco Construction. And I love their support that they show to ice hockey and to hockey in general here in the St. Louis area. Lordo's Diamonds, get that special someone, something special in your life. LordosDiamonds.com. Get there today. StLouisLawn.com. Again, they come and cut my grass. I don't really have to talk about them, but I do anyway. They're just incredible. They put so much effort into cutting your grass. I mean, it's really impressive, to be honest with you. But you can do lawn mowing, regular lawn care, fertilization, weed control, aeration, landscape design, and installation. They can do everything. Hardscaping, patios, retaining walls, seasonal cleanups, which is always important. You get to fall and spring. You want to have your fall cleanup and your spring cleanup. But I love it, man. And I also love the snow removal and everything they do during the winter as well. So they are the absolute best. St. Louis Lawn Care. They are the specialists, man. They do an unbelievable job. So check that out. Get you a phone number if you want to call them, because you can always call them 314-974-5911. 314-974-5911 for St. Louis Lawn Care. Dirt cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop. Download the app and find the location nearest you. Get that free delivery. And Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today. He's standing by, ready to take your call. All right, for everybody affiliated with this edition of Hockey Sense, we thank Aiden here from Half Coast Studios. Obviously, Jamal Mayers for stopping on in. And then Blues first round 16th overall pick, Maddox Dagenais, who will be in an NHL main camp. I would imagine he's going to play in the rookie showcase, which is headed to Chicago this year. I would imagine he'll be in those games. So we'll get an opportunity to really see him play some games and make an impression there. So that'll be fun as well. We appreciate Maddox for stopping by this edition of Hockey Sense, the August edition of Hockey Sense. I'm Andy Strickland, reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. And we'll do it again next week as we do every Friday right here from the Half Coast Studios. Have a great weekend, everybody.